Okay, hey everybody, welcome to Chiustream. So, wow, Oscars last night, super exciting. Saw my buddies Dice and Dice Satsumi and Robert Kondo, um, and a bunch of little pictures and things like that as the Oscars were starting, and it was so exciting. So, anyways, um, just another reminder that anything can happen. These are two super talented artists, yes, but they created a film that was completely independent and got all the way up to the Oscars, nominated, sitting in the room that millions and millions of people watch on TV live and everything. What an amazing accomplishment for them. So big shouts out to my buddies Robert Kondo and Dice Satsumi for doing such a wonderful job. Um, can't wait to hear all about their experience. Anyways, what are we doing today? What are we doing today? We are going to do some drawing with me. So this is how it works, okay? Let's get a blank document out or a blank piece of paper, and you're just going to start with me, okay? This is a little warm-up exercise that I do, and this is one that I pre-recorded, um, where it's all about sketching. It's all about warming up. So it doesn't really matter what you end up drawing. Have faith that things will work out in the end. Okay, and all you need to do is just keep drawing. What are you going to draw? I don't know. What am I going to draw? I don't know. It's all just a warm up. We have to do this warm up, you have to let go of the whole entire idea that your drawing needs to be good. Okay, these drawings are not going to be good. We are not expecting much from these drawings. However, this warm up is an essential part of warming up to have your best possible drawing day today. Okay, so if you're watching this after the fact, feel free to join in. And if you want to catch these streams live and you're watching this after the fact, just look up Livestream, Bobby Chiu, Chiu, and you can find my channel and everything and sketch along with me. Okay, so I want to give some big shouts out as the sketch is happening. This little bunny. Okay, so I want to give some shouts out to everybody and tell me where you're from, and I'll give you a shout out. Okay, so I see Jenny Luco. What's up, Jenny? See Mika Madden from Florence, right on. Or from Italy, right on. Great to see you. And who else do I see on here? Let me know. Give you a shout out. Okay, so we have Alexandra from Portugal, Austria, Anna Maria. What's up, Anna Maria? Got Quebec, Italy, Sweden, Texas, Netherlands, England, Belgium, New Orleans, Czech Republic, Dallas, Texas, Italy, California, Colorado, Austin, Texas, everywhere. Israel, Malaysia, England, Colombia. Holy smokes. Wow, we got such a nice group of people, nice diverse group of people. Columbia, New Hampshire, Florida. Great. Great to see everybody on the streams. And don't forget to sketch with me, okay? We're going to make this kind of like an art coach kind of session where I'm going to give you a different exercise that you can do with me every time. And at the same time, you can ask me questions, whatever you like, and I'll be happy to answer as many of them as I possibly can. So if you like, you can ask me a question or in the chat, and I'll try to answer as many of them as possible. Okay, so like I said, what you end up drawing, it doesn't matter. This bunny right now, the whole entire pose and everything, it looks like a statue, it looks very stiff, but that's okay. Because the main thing is that I'm just going to let the pencil, let the brush keep moving. Okay, that's the idea here. Now, you don't have to. One of the things that kind of slows us down a lot of times is that we are thinking too much about what are we going to draw, or trying to look for that perfect reference image that's going to inspire us to come up with some awesome idea. Don't bother. Just start drawing. Okay, there's plenty of time to look up this and that, look up reference and all this stuff. Claire Wendling does not use reference. You know, you got to believe it. You got to go with the things that successful artists do and, practice those kind of practices. Now, does that mean that you can't look up reference later on? Sure, you can. This is all about this is a warm up, people. This is just a 1 hour warm up where you're going to do this with me. And by the end of the hour, uh, you're going to come out with something good. Okay? Now, you don't even have to finish a sketch. You can see now I'm starting a new sketch. What is this sketch? At this point, I have no idea. I'm just thinking that maybe it's a head. What are those little things coming out of the side of the head? Are those tentacles? I don't know. Again, I don't know. Um, just kind of going with it, you know? It's all about almost like subconscious drawing. And for those of you that work in the business, in the movie business and things like that, where you have to draw something specific, you're going to find that this warm-up is quite refreshing because it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a comet that turns into an alien head, that turns into some sort of rodent, that turns into something futuristic. It doesn't matter. It could start one way, completely go another way, and at the end of it, it's totally fine. And that's the wonderful, wonderful thing about this exercise. Not only that, but like I was saying last week, just like professional athletes, you know, they warm up. They're already professionals. They're already doing their thing and doing awesome, but they still go through their warm ups. And just like professional athletes, professional artists go through their warm ups as well. So think about it like that. If you want to be a really good professional, hey, this can't hurt you. And as well, a lot of times what ends up happening is you end up coming up with a good idea in the end. So even though I don't know where this thing is going as I was sketching it out, you just sketch whatever you want, and in an hour's time, you keep visualizing, keep trying to think of new ideas, keep looking at the shapes and the details that you're doing, and keep coming up with new ideas. By the end of the hour, you're going to come out with something really cool. And at the end of the hour, what I love for you guys to do is whoever does this exercise, post it up. Post it up. Post your sketch on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, whatever it is, and hashtag it Chiustream. Okay? Hashtag it Chiustream, and I will include you into the mix of the people that hashtag Chiustream or share the Facebook post that I did if you guys follow me on Facebook, and you guys will all have a chance to win a free Schoolism self-taught class, some of the best education in the world, and including Oscar nominees last night, Dice Tatsumi and Robert Kondo's class. You can't go wrong with learning from the people that are really leading the industry. You can definitely hit roadblocks if you are learning from amateurs. You do not become a chess master from learning from chess amateurs. You have to go to the chess masters of the world. That's something that I was saying last time, but I feel like it's such a strong point. I wanted to repeat it. Okay? Your teachers matter so much to the overall, how far you're going to come in your overall career. Okay, so what's the topic? It's just free sketching to warm up. Okay, and that's the idea. And you can, of course, you can post your questions into the chat right there, and I'll be happy to answer them as we go along. Okay? Somebody's saying, Daniel's saying that, whoa, this thing is so awesome. Well, thanks. It's again, it's kind of like some days you get something good, some days you don't. This one, I still think it's meh. I don't really fully like it just yet. I'm gonna keep going, keep exploring. Um, Now, what program am I using? Says Daniel. I'm using Sketchbook, Autodesk Sketchbook. It's it's my go-to program for drawing, for sketching. When I want to come up with really good ideas and use something that's very fluid, you know, I don't want to mess around with too many keys. Sketchbook Pro is what I go to. You can see that it's quite a clean program, isn't it? There's not much fiddling around that I'll do, and you can see that there's hotkeys and such. Whenever I press spacebar, that blue puck shows up, and then I can just move the canvas around. Um, Perhaps I'll do a stream later on, just showing you the ins and outs of how I use the program. But for now, we're just going to do some sketching. Okay, you can use Photoshop, you can use traditional paper, you can use whatever you want, whatever your preference is. Okay, but good question. Keep them coming. Now, last time I was talking about confidence. Uh, that was like our main kind of topic, and so I introduced this practice, this uh, warm up exercise that I do to build confidence. Because guess what? If you follow along correctly and you're just sketching for the sake of sketching, you don't have to sketch creatures. You could just sketch a spoon. You could sketch a car out, all from your imagination. Not only will it give you more confidence in your drawings, because no longer are you actually thinking about good drawings. If you do this correctly, you're just drawing. Not only will it give you confidence in your drawings, but a lot of times it gives you really great ideas by the end of it. Ideas that you can take even further by the end of it. Okay, just copying some questions down so I don't forget them. Um, Now, confidence in drawing, great. But then you have to go out and talk to people. You have to communicate with people. And a lot of times that can definitely be very nerve-wracking, talking to a director for your very first movie project, or, you know, an art director for perhaps a game or something like that. Your first big project, it can definitely be nerve-wracking. So I want to share with you a little story of my first big project, which actually happens to be the cover of Sketchbook. Way back in the day, it was Alias Wavefront Sketchbook Pro, the very first version. And I was very fortunate, very lucky to win a contest that they had for Sketchbook Pro, which is now called Sketchbook, back in the day. And then through that contest, I ended up getting my um, first big illustration job. I was still I just graduated school at the time. Now that was scary. That was scary because, first of all, I don't feel like a professional illustrator at that time. Like many of us, we almost feel like imposters. We tricked everybody to think that we're professionals, and they gave us this professional job. I'm sure many of you can relate to that. Um, so what I did was I would take some time to really think about what kind of person do I want to come off as? What would my first impression be? How am I going to talk to everybody? Um, like what kind of attitude, and visualize that. Again, we're talking about visualizing, and is it a coincidence that, I'm asking you to visualize things before you draw them in your warm-ups? No. visualizing is the most powerful way to think. So I just kept visualizing confidence, my confident state. What moments in your life were you extremely confident? Perhaps it was just hang out with your friends. Perhaps it was when you were the oldest person in the group of, you know, students and things like that, and you felt the most confident, you felt the most experienced and things like that. Capture that. Really keep that in your head and kind of see through that character's eyes again. Okay? And really just try to go through the steps. How am I going to be? How am I going to be when I walk in there? And constantly, constantly put your mind into that state. Keep going back to that memory. And then I went into a meeting. I went into a meeting at Alias Wavefront, which is now Autodesk, sat in a room with about 8 people. And they are all there to listen to my pitch of what the Sketchbook Pro 2 cover is going to be. So they're sitting there and they're not saying anything. They're just like, they introduce themselves and then go, okay, go. And then I'm kind of just sitting there just going, oh my gosh, they're all just staring at me. I should say something. What a nerve-wracking experience that is. Super duper nerve-wracking. Um, and then the worst thing of all happens. I feel a drop of sweat trickling down my forehead. And of course, that makes me even more nervous. And more sweat starts coming down until my whole back is just, I could just feel it just, you know, wet. Wet and disgusting. And I'm just sitting there and trying to explain, but then I feel like they can all notice my nervousness and all this stuff. How did I make it stop? I went back to that place, that memory of when I wasn't stressful, when I was very confident. And that memory was from high school when I would be hanging out with my friends in the basement of my parents' house and just talking, just hang out. And so I put myself into that mind state and just kept trying to get into that mind state of I'm at my parents' house. These are just friends. We're in the basement and I'm just talking with them. And just kept going at that. And by the end of it, um, I was very confident again. I could feel the sweat stopping, and I got through my pitch, got the job, and that was it. You know, Roberto is saying that he feels the same way constantly, the whole entire imposter thing. Well, guess what? Same with J.K. Rowling's. She said in her interviews in the past that she felt like a imposter. Like Harry Potter didn't deserve this much recognition, that she somehow tricked everybody to like Harry Potter so much. I felt the same way when I was working with Tim Burton on his movie. I'm just this artist in Toronto, Canada. You know, uh, Working on this movie for Tim Burton, and you know, does that feel real? No, it doesn't feel real at all. Do I feel like an imposter? Heck yes, I felt like an imposter. And it wasn't until many, many years later. So that I stopped kind of feeling like that. And even moments now, I still kind of feel like that. Like when I was on a panel with Glenn Keane. Oh my goodness. You know, in Savannah, Georgia, one of my ultimate super, like, heroes of art. And somehow I'm on the same panel as him. How does that make sense? Um, Yotam is saying when I say super duper, it's easy to tell you're Canadian. Oh, that's hilarious. What is that? Maybe it's an accent. Maybe other people don't say super duper. I don't even hear super duper that often, so maybe it's just a Bobby thing. I don't know. But that's a funny comment. Another example that I had was of just being nervous and trying to be confident. Um, a lot of times, I'm sure this happens to people as well, where they're very nervous to go and talk to an artist that they really admire, something like that. Years ago when I didn't know Steven Silver, and Steven Silver was just an, this artist that I had the person's sketchbook. I really, really like Steven Silver's stuff. Got the opportunity to meet him in New York, saw his booth way over there, and then I was like, both Kay and I were like, we got to go over and talk to him. But at the same time, even though it's funny because like he's one of my best buddies now. Um, I was very nervous to go and talk to him. Well, sometimes, you know what? The best thing to do sometimes is just to tell your brain, shut up, brain. We're doing this. Let's go, feet. Walk, 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 and just walk right up to them. We're gonna walk up right up to Steven Silver, and we're either gonna crash and burn or we're gonna say something. And sometimes it's just about throwing yourself into the fire a few times, and then the fire won't hurt you after a while. Sometimes our brain is our worst enemy, telling us things that we don't need to hear. And sometimes we gotta just grab that voice in our head, smack it down, and tell it who's boss, and say, let's go, we're doing this. Your brain, your mind, they're two separate things. The brain is kind of like a muscle, just like um, your leg muscles. Our mind is what tells the brain what to kind of think, what to kind of calculate out, and things like that. It's not our brain telling our mind what to think, if that makes sense. That's my own kind of feeling on things, that the brain is very much, it's just another body part. Our mind is the thing that tells us what's right and wrong, what we should do, those kind of things. It's just that a lot of times our brain doesn't actually listen. Okay, so let's go to some questions here. When you are sketching in traditional media, do you have a favorite pencil, paper, pen to use? I like to go back and forth. I like to explore many different things. But just as kind of like basics drawing, I like to draw, if I'm using some sort of pencil-ish thing, I would use a um, coal erase pencil. I like coal erase because they don't smudge as easily. Uh, Paper, I don't think it really matters as much to me, the type of paper, as long as it isn't too rough. I don't like anything that's too rough because it's hard to get a good markdown. I find, or a good smooth kind of markdown. Um, and then of course, if it's pen, any old pen would do. A lot of times, what I tend to use is Fisher Space Pen. The Fisher Space Pen was designed for NASA to go up into space and still be able to draw things or write things down in zero gravity. So you can write upside down with this pen. If you ever want to do that, you can write in minus degrees weather, and it flows very, very well. A lot of times you'll hit a bubble in your pen, and then all of a sudden you aren't actually drawing, like no ink is coming out. Well, that doesn't really happen very much with the Fisher Space Pen. So But as well, I tend to draw with just normal pens quite often, just a big pen or a Papermate or whatever it might be. Um, let's see here. Next question. Oh, before we get to the next question, I want to give you out there another optional exercise, okay, for building up confidence. Um, this one is just confidence in communication because a lot of times, man, artists are not good at communicating with people verbally because that's what made us good artists. We didn't really talk to too many people and we just sat there drawing in our rooms all day. So this one is for you guys if you feel that you lack in the art of conversation. A great exercise is to talk to people in the elevator. Okay? Next time you're in an elevator, whoever comes in, strike up a conversation. If you are a little too nervous about striking up conversations, if you're a nervous kind of person, then just start off by saying hello to the person. You know, hello, good evening, hello, good morning, and just kind of start off with that and make it a habit. And sooner or later, you'll get better at it. That's the great thing about the brain. After a while, it gets used to things. And if you get it used to the right things, it'll help out your career, your life. Okay, big shouts out to Teresa Johnson, my first live stream. Right on, right on. Okay, so the next question that I have here is you talked about reference, but when you want to warm up with something totally new, I don't know, a sloth, will you use reference or will you try to first do a sketch from total imagination? Total imagination, that's what I say. Don't go to your reference at first. Because you know what? I find that if I'm really struggling with something like, a centaur or something like that, or maybe a horse, okay, something real, a horse, right? And I'm really struggling drawing this horse. Next time I look at a horse and I study from a horse, you'll see you'll do it as well. You will pay so much more attention to certain things, the things that you had trouble with. So doing this warm up is wonderful because it is just a warm up. When you really do have to draw a horse, of course, you're going to use some reference, right? Now, let's go to the next question here. Do you listen to music when you warm up? No, I don't. I like listening to nothing, or I like listening to audiobooks. Generally, I listen to nothing. I feel like when there's complete silence, that's when I draw at my best. That's when I can concentrate at my best. Music is great for passing the time, but to really draw at your full concentration, for me anyways, I know many people are different. I tend to like to draw in complete silence. And actually, going back to the whole entire thing about visualizing the state that you're going to be in when you go and you give a pitch to somebody, you talk to a director, whatever it is, a lot of times what I will do before I do a talk in front of, hundreds of people, things like that, I will also visualize how I want to be at that talk. The other great tip that I'll give you is I don't like to give a big talk on a full stomach. I feel like my brain's working slower because all the blood is in my stomach trying to digest stuff. And actually, I've read that Ronald Reagan did the same thing where he wouldn't eat like if it was a big dinner gala kind of thing at the White House and he needed to make a speech, he wouldn't eat the dinner. He would just ask for a chocolate chip cookie. And that was the only thing that he'd eat before he gave a speech. And I tend to do the same thing, just a little bit of sugar, so I'll have a black coffee with a little bit of sugar, and then that's it. It keeps the brain going pretty quick. I like that. All right. Next question here. You can just throw your questions in the chat. I'll try to get to as many as I can. Hey, Bobby, what's your favorite Schoolism class? That one is a tough one. For me, I like drawing and painting, right? And I'll go through my phases. So uh, definitely one that is very foundational, fundamental is, of course, Steven Silver. Fantastic teacher. And those fundamentals that he gives, even though he does more like 2D, flat 2D designs, I still use those principles in live action stuff, in CG stuff. It's very fundamental. So if you're a beginner, I would definitely pick up that one, fundamentals of character design if you want to get a better understanding, get better at your characters. That's what I'd say. Um, you know, One of my favorites, of course, was Nathan Fowkes for quite a while, uh, designing with light and color. Fantastic course. Sam Nielsen also drives it home with fundamentals of lighting. Wow. You know, he really explains so darn well how light works from a scientific level. So that is one of like my big topics that I really love. And of course, right now, as many of you know, I've been taking Dice Tatsumi and Robert Kondo's class, painting with light and color. And what a fantastic class that is. Are they the same subject? Somewhat, yeah. But they're all kind of told in a different way. Um, and when you learn the same thing from different people in their own ways, things start clicking way better. Way, way, way better. So, highly recommended. Highly recommended. Um, yeah, so right now, I guess my favorite at this moment, which it will change, is Dyson Roberts painting with color and light. Another one that I really, really loved is Alex Wu, Luis Gonzalez gesture drawing class, because gestures I've always um, been more, I guess, that's something that came harder to me. Lighting, tones, that came a little easier, I feel. Copying things came a lot easier, I feel. But creating your own posing and things like that definitely came hard to me, which is why I'm doing this exercise. And that's why this exercise has been super helpful for me. I know it'll be really helpful for you guys as well because of that, uh, because it works for me. And it's worked for many students throughout the years. Let's go to another one here. So, Bobby, do you do any other brain warm-ups? Sudoku, miscellaneous brain training games when you wake up? Actually, you know what? I pull it, I direct it all towards art because art is very difficult and it works out the brain in such ways where I feel like it's way more complex and way better than something like Sudoku. Even though I like Sudoku, it's cool. Um, and I'm going to be showing a completely different exercise for you guys next week. I'm planning this so that it becomes very much a regiment, a really cool regiment that we can all do together. for free, just for fun, and so you can train along with me as I'm training. If you're doing the same things that I'm doing, you're gonna do great. Trust me, because I was not born with just awesome art skills or anything like that. I had to work hard to learn how to paint and draw, and I wasn't the quickest learner either. But these are the methods that I helped to create to help me become a better artist. Okay. The other thing I want to mention was at the end of this stream, it's going to be awesome because I'm going to choose somebody at random to give a Schoolism class to for free. Spreading some good vibes out there. All right, so all you need to do is go on to my Facebook page, facebook.com/bobby.chiu, share that first post there, or um, you can go on Twitter. Same thing, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, those are three channels that I'm using. And if retweet the tweets that I'm doing about this stream, you're eligible to win. And when you're done this sketch, when you're done the stream, you can post your artwork with the hashtag Chiustream. Mention the stream in your post, and you will also be eligible to win for next week's. Okay? Okay. So let's go to the next thing here. Have you struggled with the balance of art for work and art for yourself? Yeah, have you struggled with the balance of art for work or art for yourself? Really trying to keep going with personal work, but after 8 hours of doing art for work, it's a struggle to stay fresh and awake. Great question. This exercise itself fixes a lot of that because as you can see, this is a warm up. I'm doing it first before my commercial work. And so that means that I'm constantly doing my own personal work. And then, of course, I'll need to do my professional work afterwards. But this is a wonderful way to do it, to constantly do professional work. And as you can see here, another technique that I just like to kind of spotlight here is, as many of you have seen, I'll take the old sketches, reduce the opacity, and try to draw shapes from those old sketches, something completely new. Like you can see that the turtle head that I erased shared the same eyeball as the rabbit drawing that I did previously. And now I'm kind of turning the rabbit head around in the other direction and playing with that as well. That's another really wonderful technique to this warm up is you just reduce your opacity after a while and see what you can kind of imagine from the remnants of your old sketches. Okay. So, let's go to the next question here. When working on the movie Alice in Wonderland, did you divide the time between Toronto and California, or can you stay local and do it all over the net? You can totally stay local and just do it all over the net. I travel around, and even today, I'll travel around quite often and work on the road, work in Europe, work in, South America, work wherever I want, and that's the best thing about being a freelance artist, I would say, is that freedom that you can have. I could take off the afternoon and just work at night. I know my friend Nathan Fawkes, he does a lot and a lot of freelance, and he does it generally at night, all the way till like 5 in the morning. And those are his hours that he likes to work. So, You can do it in all sorts of ways. Yeah, Teresa, you're saying, oh, it's a tortoise hare. Exactly. Did I plan it? No, I didn't plan it, right? It's just about just looking at it and just kind of seeing, imagining things. And the whole entire thing is, as you imagine more and more, it gets easier and easier to imagine what is not there. And that, my friends, is visualizing. And when you can visualize things that aren't there, your art level goes up and goes up and goes up. So it's awesome. I highly recommend that if you're not able to sketch right now with me, review this video again later on, okay? And follow along. Just start sketching. You know, this broadcast is only an hour. It's an hour warm up, okay? And if you do that, even though your sketches might not be awesome at first, they will get better and better, better and better until, this just becomes, until you believe, with enough practice, you will for sure believe in this method because it's something that I've done for years and years, and it's been awesome. Awesome. When I have the worst drawing days, if I start doing this right in the beginning of the day, I always tend to have really good drawing days by the end of this workout. It's like an art workout, totally. And I'm your art coach, okay? And I'm going to be bringing multiple, because I have so many different art exercises that I'll do to strengthen certain things. And I hope over these weeks, over these months, I can create a regimen for everybody, anybody that's interested in learning art and getting good at, bring out the potential in art, to follow along. It's like the gym. Hit it up every day, just a little bit, and you're going to stay artistically healthy. Okay, let's go to another question here. How do you keep the wheels turning and not get distracted? Facebook, coffee run, practicing disco moves, etc. um, I have a to-do list. I have things on the list that are priority. And the whole entire idea is to get through that to-do list as quick as possible. When I'm done, totally check out Facebook. But, you know, put a time on it. That's what I'd say. Put a time on it, um, like a time limit on it. So you go, okay, I'm going to just check out Facebook for 5 minutes or whatever that might be. Okay, that's very important because a lot of times we can get totally lost in YouTube and Facebook and all that stuff. Um, okay, let's go to the next question. Are you just drawing from your head? Yes, totally just drawing from my head. What is it? I have no idea. I have no idea at this point, and that's the fun. That is the really big difference between doing commercial art, art for other people, and art for yourself. It doesn't matter what it's going to be. It doesn't matter how it starts and then how it ends up. I had a bunch of different sketches on there, a dodo bird, some sort of dreadlock tree monster, things like that. Uh, and it eventually turned into this, some sort of tortoise hare with foliage growing on its shell and a few little creatures just kind of hang out that kind of live on its shell. What is that? I have no idea. But that's the cool thing about it. And every day you can keep these things. You can, store them up, store up these awesome little ideas. Some will be cool, some will not be as cool, but either way, you're going to have just loads and loads. If you keep a nice, healthy habit of this, you have loads and loads of ideas by the end of it. And like I was saying last time, one of the biggest kind of speed bumps in an artist is, especially painters, because it takes a lot longer to paint something. After you're finished painting, it's almost like you're going through withdrawal or something like that. It's hard for you to start another painting But if you are doing this habit where you're constantly coming up with new ideas, it won't be as hard to go onto a new painting, a new idea, because you already have a whole, folder just full of awesome new ideas that you can expand on, or you can just go straight into and start painting. It's great. Which I guess leads me to the next question. Do you save all of your warm-up files? Yes, I totally, why not? Hard drives are so big nowadays, you can save pretty much everything you ever make, which is awesome. Um, I have a hard time visualizing. This is another question. Okay, so I have a hard time visualizing things in 3D. Every time I draw, it's just flat. Do you have an exercise to help visualizing in 3D? Yeah, uh, more drawing. And the whole entire idea is that it's the concentration you're doing as you're drawing. So you're not really concentrating on the lines so much as opposed to um, trying to concentrate on this three-dimensional object and making it feel three-dimensional. Just trying to see it, not concentrating on the lines that you are drawing, but trying to see the imaginary kind of object in your head and see it on screen and try to kind of uh, crawl over that with your brush and try and describe it with your brush. It's a hard thing to describe, but that is generally that's how I think about things in a three-dimensional sense. Okay, whole bunch of questions coming in. Let's keep going. Um, okay, been doing traditional portrait commissions, want to do illustration now. How do I get illustration work? Go to places that have tons of illustrators, tons of art directors for illustration, things like that. Things like the Spectrum workshop event is a great one. New York Comic Con is a great one for publishing and stuff like that. Um, Not just go there physically, but you can also go there virtually, right? You can go to forums that have tons of illustrators and show your illustration work. Okay? You can go to, or you can apply, submit stuff to Spectrum, submit stuff to the Society of Illustrators. That's the best way to get illustration work, is just to go to the places that have tons and tons of illustrators there already. You could either try to attract them to your site, or you can just go to where they are. I think a combination of both is very powerful. Okay, how do you price your work? What is your approach? I've gone through this many times, but the idea is that you always want to think about what the person's budget is. Okay, as opposed to how much do you want to get paid per hour. Think about the person's budget, and then you'll realize whether or not you want to do the job, or you can think of creative ways of trying to take that quote that you think that they have in their heads and make it something that will be a little easier on them to ask for more, uh, for that job. For example, paying in installments, you know, having a trial period where maybe just hire me for 2 days. That is generally enough time for me to show you what I can do. Something like that, if your rate is higher than they expected. Let's go on to the next question here. Do Schoolism digital classes get outdated? They would. That's why we need to constantly update them if there's anything that's outdated. It doesn't happen that often, you know, um, but every once in a while you do need to update things. Um, okay, so let's see here. Your illustrations look like a story. Do you want to create a comic book or a kind of storybook illustration? I actually have in the past with some old college friends and Kay Asadero, we created an animated comic book called Nico and the Sword of Light that you can get on tablets, and every panel is completely animated. Took us a good while, took us 2 years to create, but it's been awesome. It's been awesome. So let's see what the next question is. Okay, so, oh, by the way, the person that I choose in the end of this stream for a free Schoolism class, you can also pick between a free Schoolism class or one of the two upcoming workshops that we're having in Montreal and Toronto. And these are going to be once in a lifetime kind of things. It's going to be huge. We're going to have in Toronto, we're going to have Brenda Chapman, who won the Oscar last year for Brave, director. Her husband, Kevin Lima, one of my favorite directors to work with. He directed Tarzan. He directed Enchanted. Then we're going to have Steven Silver doing character design, teaching character design. We're going to have Helen Mingju Chen for the first time in Toronto doing a workshop. And then Sam Nielsen. Great lineup. Plus two secret surprise guests that are coming to Toronto. It's going to be awesome. Um, yeah, I, I can't say enough, but you're totally not going to regret it if you come. I guarantee it's going to be awesome. We're also going to have in Montreal, we're going to have one of my favorite Schoolism teachers, Alex Wu, story artist heavyweight from Pixar. He's going to be teaching story. Nathan Fowkes is coming to Montreal. Um, we're gonna, or sorry, not not Nathan. Nathan came last time. Excuse me. We're gonna have Alex Wu. We're gonna have Carlo Ortiz. It's a great illustrator. If you're interested in illustration, it is so freaking. Her work is so freaking awesome. And yes, Lloyd, it is a free Schoolism class or a workshop. The winner will be able to choose. We're also going to have Paula Zane in the Montreal workshop, which is going to be mind blowing because he is, you know, just a master level painter. I can't describe it in any other way, and that's a description that I don't use very often. Master level. He's going to be teaching 3 killer painting techniques in his one workshop, which is going to be awesome. And then we're going to have Christophe Lautrette from DreamWorks, production designer at DreamWorks. Production designer is higher than art director at DreamWorks. Um, just amazing, amazing lineup. And very soon we're going to open up the Calgary workshop where we're going to have Steven Silver, Nathan Fowkes, and Stanley Artgerm Lau. Stanley is, as many of you know him as Artgerm, he has over 250,000 followers on DeviantArt, which is gigantic, just gigantic. How did he do that? How does he do his illustrations? That's what his workshop's all about. It's going to be awesome. Awesome. Okay, let's go on to the next question here. So, I really love your work. What advice can you give me in terms of concentration? Again, this is a great exercise for concentration as well because you're just sketching away. That's all you need to do is just start drawing and and you're going to do great. Okay, concentration is really just getting rid of every other thought in your head and just sticking to that one task. Just concentrate on seeing more ideas, seeing things within your sketches, and you'll get better and better at it over time. Okay, so let's go to the next question here. Imaginism Studios books, are they at some point available again? Love the creature sketches one and the art of Nico. Yes, right now none of them are available online. Most of them are sold out. We have about 12 or 13 books that we've published in the past, and I think about 11 or 12 of them are sold out. So, we do the books for fun. So, when they come out, definitely jump on it because they all sell out. Um, you can find some on eBay, but it might cost you a pretty penny. Okay, let's go to the next question here, which is, are standing workstations that good? I've been reading it's healthier. Kay, she just got a standing workstation. Do you like the workstation, Kay? If you couldn't hear, she said, heck yes! Love the work. Oh, she says life changing. So maybe I should get one as well. And she says she's more productive. So there you go. Big shout outs to all the standing workstations out there. um, let's go to the next question. So curious how, I'm curious how your workstation looks like. Can you tell us a bit about it? Okay, so right now I have a Cintiq monitor, 13-inch HD. I lay it flat and then I attach another monitor, to it. So I have two monitors, one that's not a Cintiq, one that is. The Cintiq is laid flat. I use it more like a tablet, and I'll stare straight at the monitor in front of me. Why is this? Because then I don't have to raise my arm up. A lot of people they say draw with your whole arm, draw with your whole arm. But if you draw with your whole arm, with your arm up for, 12, 14, 16 hours a day, you're going to ruin your arm. You're it's inevitable, so the idea is with this setup, I I'm sure if you work maybe 8 hours a day with lots of breaks, then nothing will happen to you. But this is for the crazy hardcore, artists that just can't stop drawing. Definitely beware. If you feel like your arm is really stressed all the time, even before you run into problems, maybe bring that Cintiq down and lay it flat and work on it like it was a tablet. And then I have a secondary monitor that faces straight at me, eye level, which is the way that monitors are supposed to be at. And so I'll use the Cintiq as a tablet, but anytime I need to do anything very precise, I'll just look down and draw it very, very precisely. Okay, as you can see, I'm almost done this drawing here. Let's go to the next question. So, hey Bobby, I'm a senior at SVA. What's up? All right, studying illustration. It's scary knowing that I'm about to graduate. Is there any advice you could give students that are about to complete school? Yeah, totally. Um, the less of a, the harder a transition you have from going from student to professional, the harder it's going to be to start your career. Okay, so if you can, just start reaching out to professionals and things like that right now so that you have a bit more of a bridge going from student to professional. A lot of times um, you're a student and you just kind of get into that student bubble, right? Where you don't think about anything else except for what's happening in your school, if you know what I mean. When that happens, that's not good, right? That's not going to be good because then, compared to if you're going to school, you're going to events, you're talking with people online that are professionals, all this stuff, building relationships. Then when you get out of school, you already have relationships already built, and it'll be a lot easier for you to get your name out there, to get um, good leads on good jobs. The other advice I'd like to give you is too many times do students, once they graduate, they take the first job that they're offered, or they feel like they need to get hired right away. A big point to think about is if you get hired for the wrong kind of job, is that going to help you in the end more or less? I think generally it won't help you as much. I think the best thing to do is to sometimes wait for the best job. And as you're waiting, of course, you're expanding your portfolio. You're getting better. You're studying. And the other thing is, don't stop learning. Don't stop learning after you graduate. Too many times, once students get a job, they stop learning. They just start doing and stop learning. But you need to do both to really make it in this field for the long run. If you stop learning, guess what? Everybody, or not everybody, but generally the whole world keeps learning, keeps advancing, and the people that don't fall behind. And if you're dealing with, if you want to be a creature designer or something like that, all of a sudden, unfortunately, you are competing with people like me as well that continues to learn. Like I'm taking Robert and Dice's class, like I was saying, watching their videos and practicing their assignments and things like that. I'm still trying to learn. And if you aren't, guess what? I'm going to get more and more ahead of you. But if we all keep learning, constantly practicing, doing these warm-ups, doing all these things that are proactive things, you're going to get better and better. And us as a unit, we're going to get better and better and surpass all those people that stop learning. Okay, so that's another huge one that I would like to just express. Um, for all the students out there and working professionals, you got to keep learning because sooner or later, if you're dealing with people that have personalities like me that constantly are looking for things to learn, we're going to catch up and we're going to surpass. Not that it's comparing um, to other people. Don't compare your life to others. See what they're doing, but the best person to compare to is yourself. Okay? Uh, let's see. When did you feel that you were good enough to apply for a job? You might not. Okay? Just start applying. That's what I'd say. Just start applying. Because, like I was saying in the beginning, a lot of jobs I've had, I felt like an imposter. I felt like I tricked them. I felt like I wasn't good enough to do that job, but I had that job anyways. It's just because I applied and then that's it, you know? So do the same thing. Just apply and see what happens. Okay, so we're almost at the end of our stream here again. And let's pick out a winner, okay? So I will every week I'm going to either go to Twitter or Facebook or Instagram to pick a winner, and you'll never know because I'll always switch it up. and just pick it at random. Okay, so today what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to go to Facebook. Let's go to Facebook today. Okay, and like I said, the winner gets a free all access pass to either the Toronto workshop or the Montreal workshop or an online class. Okay, let's go down the list and I'm just going to pick somebody at random. Okay, and it's going to be dun, 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 dun. There's a lot of links here, so let me just open all of these up. It's taking a little while, but I want to give everybody a fair chance. Okay, so let's see. It's okay. I'm gonna have a hard time pronouncing this. Man, let me first apologize for butchering your name right in the beginning. I'm about to pull a John Travolta, I'm sure. But it's Joseba Bernardo. Oh, you know what? I'm not even gonna try. I'm just gonna apologize and I'm going to put in the chat. This is who won today. Okay. This is off of Facebook. If you are on the chat, let me know. Okay, so congratulations to Joseba. I hope I pronounced that name right. Um, right on. Great. So we're going to do this again. And next week, I got something special for you. And it's going to be a new exercise that you could do along with me. I want to do this one a couple times before we move on. Okay, so the next Chiustream is going to be this Friday. They might be a little sporadic at this time, but what you want to do is just subscribe to my channel on Livestream, and then you'll be in touch all the time. Okay? For this video, to watch it again, or whatever you like, I'm going to be posting this onto YouTube. Okay? Onto YouTube, and you can see the link just below this video. All right. So, is the stream every Monday now? I'm not sure, but you know what? I'm going to try to do these streams as much as I can, and we're going to get everybody involved, okay? And I'll try to figure out a way where we can all kind of keep in touch, and you can keep in touch with when these streams are going to be coming up next time. All right, so there you go. There's my tortoise hair all combined into one with the bunch of little guys, fishing and stuff on top of his shell. I don't know what this is, but you know what? I kind of like it, and I hope you guys do too. I hope you had a great time on the stream, and I wish you guys much luck, inspiration, creativity, and positivity and productivity. Okay, so thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys next time. All right, take care.